Now, it sounded more like a Hollywood spy movie than the latest revelations in the phone hacking trial. A reporter who's already admitted taking part in hacking today told the Old Bailey about the extraordinary lengths that he went to hide the evidence. He said he threw away as many as 10 pay-as-you-go phones into the River Thames. Amongst other things, this led to a posse of police divers looking for them. Well, our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis was in court. He's with me now. You can't make this up, can you?
Matt, these are the phones that Dan Evans claims he was using to hack with when he was a reporter at the Sunday Mirror about 10 years ago. And after a while, he says that he would sling them into the river, effectively trying to hide his tracks. And it's led to, several years later, the police sending divers down to try and find these. We'd never heard of that before. Dan Evans today painted a picture of phone hacking as a dark art which had left him deeply unhappy, self-medicating with cocaine at one point, he said, and yet which he carried on doing when he got to the News of the World. Hacking away, he said, at his desk in the open plan office. It was an open secret, he claimed. Even the office cat knew, he said at one point. And he reiterated the claim that his then boss, the editor of the News of the World, Andy Coulson, also knew. The truth is, he said, Andy Coulson knew exactly what was going on his watch, at which point he turned to look at Andy Coulson in the dock, and Andy Coulson looked up from his notes and looked straight back at him. And
Andy Coulson's lawyer then cross-examined him and got him to correct some of the claims that Dan Evans made yesterday, right?
You might remember yesterday, Dan Evans had claimed that at one point, Andy Coulson had been played a hacked message left by Sienna Miller on Daniel Craig's phone, and Andy Coulson allegedly had said, "Brilliant." I was paraphrasing, Dan Evans conceded today, at which point Andy Coulson's lawyer, Timothy Langdale, QC, said, you've got a habit of paraphrasing, haven't you? And accused him of making sweeping accusations based on no fact. Some testy exchanges in there today, particularly at one point when Timothy Langdale said, we'll get onto that point later, and Dan Evans replied, can't wait.
What else did we learn about how Dan Evans gave evidence to the prosecution today?
Well, we heard a little bit about how Evans and his lawyers had originally tried to seek total immunity from prosecution in return for his cooperation. The CPS wouldn't give him that, saying that they thought it might make him vulnerable to the accusation he was making everything up. What has been agreed is that he gives evidence in return for the possibility of a reduced sentence, because he's pleaded guilty to hacking offences. He's also pleaded guilty to lying effectively in the High Court over the hacking of the designer Kelly Hoppin's phone. A few years ago, he tried to argue that he'd never hacked her phone, that it was a sticky keypad and he'd inadvertently put the number in. But today he said that was completely a lie, but he tried to blame others, saying there was an enormous conspiracy which helped him sustain that lie, saying I was towing the line, the party line, the company line, later adding I was a very frightened man, one person caught between the Prime Minister, the tabloid world, and highly paid lawyers. I didn't know what to do. He says that he's now at a point where he's open and honest, but of course, Andy Coulson's barrister takes a very different view.
Sticky keypads. Andy Davis, thank you very much.